Welcome back to Product X, where we decode the next big thing in global tech and capital markets. I'm Rena. Today we're diving into a story that's got the entire defense tech world buzzing. Firestorm Labs just closed an $82 million Series B, and the investor list reads like a who's who of national security. NEA, In-Q-Tel, Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen Hamilton. 153 million total funding, all because they figured out how to stuff an entire drone factory inside a shipping container. Vivian, Nolan, welcome to the show. Give us a quick sense of who you are.
Hey Rena. Hey everyone. I'm Vivian Liu, a veteran angel investor with PreAngel Fund, and I've been tracking defense tech ventures for over a decade now.
Hi Rena. Hi Vivian. I'm Nolan, former top architect at a big tech company in Silicon Valley, and I've spent years building large-scale distributed systems, which is exactly what makes Firestorm's xCell platform so fascinating from an engineering standpoint.
Here's the wild part. Firestorm started out just building drones, like hundreds of other companies. Then they announced they'd pivot to building these mobile container factories, and suddenly every major player in defense is throwing money at them. Vivian, what's driving that kind of capital frenzy?
It's actually a classic case of escaping a red ocean by repositioning yourself as critical infrastructure. When you're just selling drones, you're competing against 1,000 other hardware makers and your margins get crushed. But when Firestorm's clients started asking about moving production lines to the front lines, the founders spotted something the Pentagon was losing sleep over. They called it contested logistics. It's now officially listed as one of 6 critical national technology areas by the U.S. Department of Defense. The revenue model completely shifts from selling products to owning the production infrastructure. They bundle xCell container sales with long-term government service contracts, and the ceiling on their Air Force deal alone has already hit $100 million.
Yeah, and from the technical side, that's not just a business pivot. It completely changes the architecture requirements. You're no longer optimizing for a single drone design. You're building a platform that can print dozens of variants in the field. The engineering challenge is insane.
Nolan, let's dig into that. How does xCell actually pull off printing a high-precision drone in 24 hours inside a shipping container? Potentially in some muddy forward operating base.
The core tension is high precision versus brutal environmental conditions. What Firestorm did is essentially port agile software development principles into heavy hardware manufacturing. They've got HP Industrial 3D printers locked into a 5-year global exclusive deal, and they've built a whole custom control stack around printhead thermal management and material flow. The real cleverness is in the modular architecture. The 3D printer handles the airframe and structural shell, but the AI brain, electronic warfare modules, and kinetic payloads are all separate standardized units. Frontline personnel can swap them like Lego bricks depending on the mission. Today's reconnaissance mission, tomorrow's electronic jamming run. No retooling required.
That modular approach is exactly what makes the business case so compelling. Think about the Ukrainian battlefield lessons. Drone electronic warfare countermeasures are iterating on a daily basis. Traditional munitions factories need months to retool for a design change. Firestorm's model lets rear area engineers push updated CAD files via encrypted satellite, and the container in the field prints the new version hours later. The speed from data to physical reality is something the old defense contractors literally cannot match.
And that speed translates to tactical advantage on the ground. But Nolan, what's the biggest technical bottleneck standing between xCell's current capability and truly mass-scale distributed frontline manufacturing?
Honestly, it's the material supply chain inside the container. You've eliminated transporting whole drones, but you still need a constant feed of specialized printing powders, sensors, and all the components that can't be 3D printed, like certain electronics and energetic materials. The next frontier is multi-material fusion printing, getting circuit boards and some sensors into the same pipeline as the structural parts. If they crack that within the next 2 years, they're not just disrupting defense, They're showing every asset-heavy industry how to distribute manufacturing.
And that's the trillion-dollar question for investors, right? It's not whether the technology works. The early deployments are proving it does. It's whether Firestorm can scale the logistics of supplying those containers across a contested theater like the Indo-Pacific. That's where the real strategic value lies. And that's why you see the CIA and Lockheed both getting in early.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears into our lightning round. Quick takes, no long answers. Vivian, what's the single most underrated thing about Firestorm's model?
The SaaS-like recurring revenue from service contracts. People focus on hardware, but the long-term government support deals are where the real margins hide.
For me, it's the satellite distribution network they built to push design updates. That's the software infrastructure that turns a 3D printer into a tactical advantage.
Nolan, if you could change one thing about xCell's current design, what would it be?
I'd love to see integrated additive manufacturing for electronics. Print the circuit traces directly into the frame instead of bolting on separate boards. That's the holy grail.
Vivian, biggest risk factor for this company in the next 18 months?
Supply chain vulnerability. Even a mobile factory needs raw materials. And in a high-intensity conflict, getting Fenmore and components to forward containers is its own massive logistics challenge.
Last one. 5 years from now, does every branch of the U.S. military have these containers?
I think so. The tactical advantage is too obvious to ignore. It's like saying, will armies use radios after WW2?
Agreed, but it'll be slower than Nolan thinks. Procurement cycles in defense are brutal, even for something this transformative.
I love that we got a friendly disagreement right there. All right, let's wrap up. Vivian, give us a one-sentence summary of what makes Firestorm worth watching.
Firestorm isn't selling drones. They're selling the manufacturing infrastructure for modern warfare, and that shifts the entire defense tech revenue model from product sales to platform ownership.
And from the engineering side, xCell proves you can bring agile software iteration speeds to hardware manufacturing. That's the real paradigm shift.
That's a perfect way to end it. Thanks to Vivian and Nolan for breaking down both the capital landscape and the hardcore technical architecture behind this armory in a shipping container story. If you want to stay ahead of the next wave of defense tech unicorns, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you all tomorrow for the next episode.